Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
All right, Dustin, man.
What's up, brother?
You got a big fight coming up, man. You got a legit name. Dominick Reyes fought for the title. That's hype right there, man. That's a big. What do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was super pumped when I got this offer. And I'm very well aware of what I'm up against. Dominick Reyes is one of the best guys in the division. He's got a huge name. Arguably beat John Jones. He's big. He's strong. He's athletic. I am not looking past him whatsoever, man. And like you said, it's a big name. It's a big opportunity. It's a big time in my career to go out there and climb that ladder, take the next step in the division.
Without a doubt, man. And yeah, a lot of people are going to talk shit too. They're going to be like, Dominick Reyes, he fell off, and they're going to say these things. But dude, he's in his last 3 fights, he fought the best of the best. That happens, right?
Absolutely, man. Once again, I know what I'm up against. You read the comments on these pictures and people saying R.I.P. Reyes, Jacoby, easy KO. Man, I'm not buying into any of that because I know how good Dominick Reyes is, man. He fought John Jones and he fought the best in the world time and time again, and it's a very unforgiving sport. It's a tough job, man, to go out there and win in the UFC, man. It is super tough, especially when you're fighting the absolute best guys in the world. So, no, he's a very dangerous opponent. And another thing, despite his recent skid, he's got his back against the wall. I've been that guy with my back against the wall. I know what it's like to be down, counted out, and people not believing in you. And that's a dangerous man. That makes for a dangerous man. So it has me on high alert as well, man. I'm very well prepared, and I know what I'm up against.
He's been gone, or not gone, but he hasn't fought. He hasn't competed in a long time, man. And that is somewhat of a mystery, right? Don't you think? It's like a mystery. Do you plan on seeing like a totally different Dominick Reyes, or do you feel like, that's something that you can't transform? You have your style and that's what you have.
Yeah, I think he's taking a little bit of a hiatus. I mean, dude, when you lose, 4 in a row and then you lose 3 of them by knockout, I'm sure he's got him really questioning himself, what if he wanted to do this or not. Ironically, I was actually at his fight with Ryan Spann. So the last time he fought, I was there live. It was 1 week after I fought Khalil Roundtree, 1 or 2 weeks anyway. And I feel like I fought so many fights since then, and he hasn't. So I think that's going to play a little bit of role too, a little bit of rust. But I expect him to come out firing sharp. I expect him to be super sharp, throwing caution to the wind. I mean, he's a desperate man, right? And that makes a dangerous man. So, I know, I got to be prepared for all things.
Speaking of Khalil Roundtree, man, this whole this DHEA supplement thing going on with him, and it looks like he's going to get cleared, but man, he missed a huge opportunity, right? Being pulled from that fight, man. If you were in those shoes, dude, what would you'd be pretty devastated, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I haven't looked into it. I know he had popped for whatever the DHEA. I haven't put too much thought into it. I haven't looked into it, but man, you're right. That's a huge opportunity blowing on him, a co-main event. I was talking to all the guys at the gym, my coach, my wife. Like, how crazy is that? Now you got Roundtree. He goes in there and beats Hill, man. He's fighting for the title. That's wild to me. And that was a fight that we were right there. But huge opportunity for Carlos Ulberg, another guy. That's what the sport is so crazy, man. It's so crazy how fast things can change. You lose a fight and you're it's the end of the world and you just suck, and you win one fight and now it changes everything, especially over a guy like Minifield or a guy like Dominick Reyes. It could change everything, man. So opportunity is always there. You just got to be ready when the time comes.
That's why this fight is so important. What I mean? It's a huge opportunity because, like you said, Reyes, he has a big name, and you knock him out, you don't know what is behind the next door, right? There could be, it could be Hill. Who knows?
100%, bro. I mean, it could be Yuri, it could be Hyon, it could be anybody at the top of the division, like whatever's open and available. And so and trust me, I'm definitely focused on Dominick Reyes first and foremost, but I understand the opportunities and the doors that could be opened with a big win. And I just signed a new deal with the UFC, so I'm extremely happy with that. But I want to go out there and prove them right and prove them that they signed a guy that still has more fight in him. And I want to climb that ladder. I take out a guy like Dominick Reyes. There's going to be so many doors just that are open.
Yeah, you're coming off the Menefield fight, you get a new contract, and you get a guy like Reyes. It shows you that the UFC is trying to push you, man. They're to give you opportunities to climb up the ladder. A lot of guys don't get that. Let's be honest.
You're 100% right, man, and thank you for bringing that up. And I recognize that, and you're so right. I'm coming off a loss to Minifield. Technically, and it kills me to say this, but 3 of my last 4 have been losses: the Roundtree and Azamat, and then Minifield, and they've all been razor thin decisions. But at the end of the day, you got to win the fights, and for the UFC to reward me with a new 4-fight deal and up my pay and give me an opportunity like Dominick Reyes, man, you're exactly right. The UFC's giving me an opportunity. I got to go there and take advantage.
Earlier you mentioned about Reyes, coming off those knockout losses, and it doesn't even have to be knockout losses. It could be just losses, right? Losses, especially like if you thought you won the fight, close decisions. Do you remember a fight where you came off of it and where you were like, yo, like I won that fight? It kind of got you down. Like, it was a huge opportunity, kind of blown it. It's out of your hands in many ways.
Bro, let's go back to Khalil Roundtree. I was on a 9-fight unbeaten streak, 7 in the UFC. And a fight, I go into the final judges' scorecard before the decision was read. I was like minus 700 on DraftKings to win a decision. I know what it feels like to, Dominick Reyes when he lost to John Jones, same exact thing. He was going to the scorecards thinking he won, thinking he didn't have to be champion of the world. And when the scorecard's read and it's not your name, dude, it takes so much out of you because physically you left so much of you in that cage. Honestly, that fight with Roundtree, and when I say I beat him, man, again, no disrespect to him. He's a killer. He's a great fighter. But I think I won that fight, and I physically left pieces of myself inside that octagon. And then to walk away the loser and, get half your paycheck, you fall in the rankings. You don't get that same momentum. You don't get the same opportunity as the guy that wins the fight, like Roundtree having with Jamal Hill in the co-main event at 303. So I know what that feels like, man, and it hurts bad. And then to go and have a razor-thin decision loss to Azamat Murzakanov, who's undefeated. I see he's fighting Minifield now. That one hurt, and that stemmed from the Roundtree loss. That was carried over because I just was so hurt. I went into that fight just a little bit shaken because of that result and just bitter and not the 100% best Hyon there is. And then I go out there and get a big win against Kennedy, which got me back to where I was feeling great, and only to go in and give up a fight once again. Another guy, Alonzo Minifield, who's a great fighter. The guy's a beast, but I don't think the better fighter won that night. I feel like I was winning that fight 5 seconds before I got dropped in the 3rd round. I remember thinking to myself, boom, I hit him with that jab over and over. Blood was going. I saw it in his eyes. The eyes tell the story. And I thought to myself, boom, I got you. This fight's over. It's my fight. And then next thing you know, I get caught with that big left hook, which changed everything. So momentum is everything, bro. And then, Dominick Reyes, I think that's why he's taking a little bit of a hiatus, man. I know what it's like to be that guy that's lost multiple times in a row. It hurts you. But then going back to what you originally said, talking about by knockout, that's where you really start questioning things. Has my chin gone? Am I still built for this? Is this still what I want to do? You're going out there and, it's not like playing football, basketball. You lose and it hurts your heart, man. You get knocked out. You're hurting your body, your mind, your brain. It's a very unforgiving sport, man. It's brutal. It's a tough way to make an easy living, as I tell everybody. Yeah, man. So that's my 2 cents on that. I feel like Reyes is a little bit of a broken man, and hopefully he's found himself. He's regrouped. He's had the time off, and I'm expecting the best Dominick Reyes to come in there next week in June 8th.
After the Minifield fight, how were you like physically?
Yeah, so the Minifield fight, I was pretty banged up. I actually fractured my ankle in the 1st round of that fight. One of the kicks I threw early on, I felt it, and it was a chronic issue that I'd been dealing with for some time. Just years of kickboxing, years of competitive fighting. And it finally, one of my kicks, man, just hit right on his knee, and it just kind of cracked the actual ankle bone halfway through. Continue fighting on that, but in the third round, when he caught me with that left hook, I think I sprained my ankle pretty bad, and I ended up tearing a ligament and a partial tendon. So I was in a walking boot for 6 to 8 weeks, like right after the fight. So that's why, interestingly enough, they actually called me 2 weeks after that fight, asking me if I wanted to fight Dominick Reyes January 20th on that Sean Strickland Duplessis card. And I was like, man, there's no way I can. I'm in a walking boot. And then that's when he got teamed up with, matched up with Carlos Olberg. And then an injury happened, I think, with Reyes. And then they came back, I don't know, like 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, and offered it for June. So, that's how that came about. But I was pretty banged up after the Minifield fight. And then, I've been taking care of myself and getting the PT, the physical therapy and everything. So we're back on track and at 100%.
Did you say that your ankle was cracked in half? The ankle bone?
Yeah, the actual ankle bone, so it was my right ankle on the left side on that big ankle bone right there. It was just cracked in half.
So when you were fighting, like when did you start to feel it like in the fight? Because you said it was the first round.
Oh yeah, I felt it right when I kicked. Right when I kicked, I felt it just kind of crack a little bit, which. I was doing an interview earlier, man. To be honest with you, that's nothing new. Like I broke my ulna twice, my arm. I got a good scar here. Kickboxing, the first time I checked a kick with Simon Marcus in our rematch. The first time we fought, he kicked me like 60 times. And I checked every one of them. And then when we had a rematch right after, he kicked me one time and it shattered my arm in 5 spots. And I kept fighting. I finished the first round. At the end of the first round, I went back to my corner. I was like, Coach, there's no way. My arm was like dangling, like it was shattered. And then I had surgery, and I came back my very next fight. It was like 11 months, 10 months later. And the very first kick of the fight, I had a plate put in my arm, and the first kick hit me high, and it snapped my bone right at the bottom of that plate. And I remember I threw a couple jabs. I was like, fuck it, man, I got to go. And ended up knocking the guy out in 2 minutes and won that fight with a broken ulna. I broke my tibia in a fight before, and of course the hands. There's broken hands in fights all the time. But like I said, man, you just got to put your best poker face on and move along, move forward. That's what It's just that's the only thing I know how to do is put your head down and grind.
I know you love training, you love the sport, you love being in the gym, and being in a boot, it kind of limits you, right? But I also know you love golfing. So how was it like? Did you golf with the boot on?
No, I did not golf with the boot on, but it was also kind of during the winter too. So, but I told my doctor who I was working with, I was like, man, I had my boys' golf trip in middle of March. I was like, am I going to be out of this boot and good to swinging club by March? And he's like, you know what? I guarantee you will be. So we did everything. We crossed our T's, dotted our I's, and I was playing golf in the middle of March with my boys.
Yeah, for sure. Anything new with the last 6 months? After you recover. Like you get back into training. I know you work at Landau, you work at Factory X. Just like new faces. Are there any new guys there? Like big bodies helping you out?
There's not the big body guys. Anthony Smith is in and out. We saw him, obviously for his camp before his last fight. I haven't seen him since his fight, but I tell you, a guy, Razor Rob Wilkinson, man, the PFL light heavyweight. That guy has been a great addition. He's back this year and going after to reclaim his title. And that guy's a monster, man. He is a great dude and, extremely good fighter. So it's been fun working with him. I've been getting a lot of work in with Josh Friends. Josh Friends is a tall, lanky guy. He's got a lot of power. He's good at wrestling. He's good at jiu-jitsu. I told Josh a couple weeks ago we were training. I was like, Josh, I believe in you, man. There's no doubt in my mind you could go in and beat Dominick Reyes right now. There's no doubt in my mind. And that gives me motivation to do better and to do it myself, to show my teammates that, hey, this can be done, man, because sometimes we're our own worst enemy. You know that? Like Josh, he is so freaking gifted, man. He could be so incredibly good, and the biggest thing holding him back is him. It's just the mentality, man, believing that you can do it. I train with this guy daily. There's no doubt in my mind he could beat Dominick Reyes. So that also, boosts me and gives me more confidence and boosts my motivation to work hard. But man, we've just been grinding in the gym. Factory X is same old, as they say. If it's not broken, don't fix it. We've just still been chugging along. I'm at Man Out Performance. Those guys are great. They're huge for my career. I've been playing a lot of golf with Coach, so and his son Wyatt, and yeah, man, we've just been living. It's starting to get nice now. The weather's really nice here, and you can feel just that summertime blues are close.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this is they must love you in like you're going like last time you were in Nashville or was no, not last time, but the one before that you were in Nashville. This time you're in Louisville. Like they just put you in all these cars, right? Last one was a pay-per-view. Man, this
Yeah, last one was a
trying to
pay-per-view
be
UFC 290.
yeah.
Yeah, man, it is, bro. And that is super cool, man. I like that they're starting to get away from the Apex because when this fight was announced, I was told it was at the Apex. I was like, dang it, man. I was like, we want the people. We want to be with crowds. There's so many cool things, ceremonial weigh-ins. I wanted to bring my brother, my buddy on stage for that. And yeah, man, nobody, I think we're over the Apex. I'm very thankful that I've been a part of, yeah, you said Nashville, Vegas on a big card, UFC 296, now in Louisville with the co-main event, which is super cool, man. It's first time I've been that high up on the card. So I'm excited, man. Like you said, it's a big opportunity to go in there and get a big win and climb the ladder.
I don't think you've ever told me that you weren't gonna knock out somebody, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you ask me, I'm swinging for the knockout, man. I feel like I can catch them, TKO them, whatever it may be. I'm never going to go in and try to wrestle somebody and do jujitsu, which I train every day, man. I got a ton of subs a day in practice, and it's something I enjoy doing. But when I fight, it's kind of like I don't know, call it like the Gaethje effect. He goes in and just wants to throw down, man. That's kind of how I am too, man. I feel like my best opportunity to win is put the hands on you early and often.
You know, you faced a lot of like just straight up heavy hitters, right? Guys that just go in there and just demolish dudes. But you've done a great job of avoiding a lot of those shots. You've been hit, but it's not like you've been knocked out by these dudes. Like, do you feel your defense is getting better and better in the last like couple of years?
Yeah, and I mean, it's something you got to constantly improve, man. I think one of the things that one of my faults is I don't have enough head movement. I don't move enough. Sometimes I stay straight on the plane, and that's something I've been working, trying to get better at, keeping that head movement. And I've just been really gifted with a solid chin too, man. And I know it's not. I win Chin of the Year every year at Factory X. It's not something to be super proud of, like. But at the same time, if you're going to play this game, it's nice to have a solid chin, a durable chin, and I also know, man, at some point, those shots add up, and guys lose their chin all the time. I mean, my opponent we're talking about right now, it just is what it is. He's been knocked out in 3 fights in a row, man. That plays a role, and you saw what was that? Roy Nelson, man. He had an iron chin, and then Mark Hunt touched him up one time, and it was never the same. So. And Chuck Liddell, you see it with him, man. You see it all the time. So the head movement, the head defense is something that I definitely want to continue improving on as I get a little bit older and more evolved in the game.
Yeah, that's not really talked about too much, right? Is everybody's always talking about the knockouts and the submissions, but they don't talk about like being defensively sound. You know what I mean? One of the greatest boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather, was a defensive guy, right? Undefeated.
Yeah, I so agree. I agree completely, man. The head movement, that's why the boxing is a sweet science, man. Is it doesn't all have to be fighting. You be able to move, counter, get on the angles. Don't just stay on one plane. Move off center. And you're right. It's not talked about enough. I think it's something that should be talked about more. Guys that are really smooth with it. Back in the day. Cody Garbrandt, was really smooth with it, with movement, man. He had some sweet head movement. TJ Dillashaw was pretty good with it, too. He stayed on that head movement. I guess those smaller guys are just a little bit quicker and move a lot. They're usually pretty good.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, you know what's going to be pretty good? Louisville, Kentucky. Co-main event. It's going to be pretty good. It's going to be damn good, right? It's going to be damn good.
Yeah, man. You're absolutely right, man. I can't wait. Again, huge opportunity. I thought Louisville, those are my type of people. We were just down there for the Kentucky Derby, and what a cool city, what a cool town. Man, I felt very welcomed. I almost feel like it's going to be like a hometown vibe. The UFC actually took me out there for the Derby, and then I had met a bunch of local people. I'm going to go speak to the Louisville Kids Boys and Girls Club. It's a big kids club of kids that kind of come from nothing and don't have much, and use this martial arts as a way to stay disciplined and have a little bit of structure in their life. So I can't wait to go down there and talk to them and inspire those kids and inspire the next batch of warriors coming up.
Yeah, much respect to that. I mean, I'm glad to see the fighters doing more of that. You see it happening, especially with these bigger events that fighters go in and do some charity work and stuff like that. Thank you so much, Dustin, man. Always, man. It's good catching up. Always a good conversation. Thank you.
It is always a good conversation, man. I enjoy talking with you, and hopefully we go get this big victory, and we'll speak about it afterwards.